All right, good evening and welcome to Caffe Lena. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. We are so excited to have Sierra DeMulder here to celebrate her book release. But before we get to that, the incredible Peggy Lynn is here to open the show this evening. Peggy is a longtime friend of Caffe Lena. She's going to be here with the folk band, the Jam Crackers, next month, but we are lucky enough to get to hear a little bit of her solo tonight as well. Peggy is going to play for about 20 minutes or so. We will take a quick intermission after that, and then Sierra's going to come up. So with that in mind, please give her a very warm welcome. This is Peggy Lynn.
When we take a break, you should all introduce yourselves to people you don't know yet, because I think in some way you're all related. You'll be surprised to find out how that happens, but some of my favorite people are behind the music stand. That cannot stand. That will not. Can I move something? I've never sat on this stage before, so I usually. Joe, do you think I could stand up? Poor guy. This, like this. What do you think? Yeah, I can't stand to have people in the audience who can't see me and I can't see them. They might be picking their noses over there or something. Yes, it could. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Without my glasses on, I can't really see it anyway. I'm going to start with a song that I wrote decades ago, but it talks about being inspired to step outside of your comfort zone, to make some art, some kind of art, music, something, and I always dedicate this to my artist friend, Carol Vossler, who has inspired me mightily over the years to, just go ahead. Why not? Try something new, jump in the water, whatever it is, just go ahead. So this is for all you artists who inspire me.
So deep inside of me, purest pulse of energy. You showed me how to scoff at rules. Calm and quiet is for fools. You giggled and you took my hand and showed me how to color outside. More than green and grass to find. Color outside the lines. Take a breath, take a chance, there's not much time. Color outside the You only find out who you are once you jumped out way too far. safe and warm. Illusion is revealed in you. You prove that I can do it too. I color outside the lines. Beauty beyond blonde, buxom blue eyes. Color outside the lines. Take a breath, take a chance, there's not much time. Color outside the lines. It's easier to watch TV, clean the house for company, than go explore the deepest dark, creative spark in a complex heart. The goosebumps and the new chrome balls push me toward that waterfall so I can color outside. Let your soul infect your mind. Color outside the lines. Take a breath, take a chance, there's not much time. Color outside the lines. Color outside the
All right, here's something else I've never done in a concert before. But this song is so silly that I figured it'd be perfect to play on the banjo. and it will help you not take it too seriously either. I'm just, we're just getting to know each other, me and this banjo. So if this interferes with your politics, just know that it's mercifully short. So I realized that, there are people in this country who really believe that they know God's will, not only for them, but for me and for all of you as well. And so, I beg to differ, and I was cross-country skiing, and I was skiing on a power line past a graveyard, and it was snowing really hard. And I realized that God was sending snow down, and it was piling up on the gravestones and my shoulders. And a song was born. You'll see what I mean. God piles snow on the living and the dead, the feet and the head, the hungry and the fed. God piles snow on the living and the dead, the blue and the red, the Nikes and the kids. God rains blessings on the rich and the poor, the sick and the cured, the rats in the sewer. God rains blessings on the rich and the poor, the steady and unsure. The folkies out on tour, well, we hope so. She's looking down and laughing at all our predictions and plans. She's ready to cheer us on, clapping if both sides will just join hands. But God gives love to the worker and the boss, the caught and the tossed, the found and the lost. God gives love to the worker and the boss, the rolling and the mossed, the brushed and the flossed. The flashing and the cold. Your fervent prayers are answered, but not the way you hoped. You thought you'd be God's favorite, and he'd be at the end of your road. But God gives grace to the sinner and the saint, the player in the paint, the strong and the faint. God gives grace to the sinner and the saint, the free and restrained, the pure and the stained, the sinner and the saint. I'm going to do another decades-old song. I realized I wrote this song when I was probably Sierra's age. And I update it every decade or so. Got a major overhaul in one verse not long after we got 45. And I think those of us who write words, poetry, music, lyrics, if we trust our muse, the muse goes out ahead of you and looks around the corner at the future and whispers then in your ear. And so if you're listening, you get things that you won't understand until quite a bit later. This song was especially like that. I didn't begin to know the meaning or the gravity of it until decades later, quite a bit later. So I dedicate this to anyone who has a few gray hairs, a few lines on their face, and this maybe moving a little slower than before. Anybody with new parts in their legs, any of those things, this is for you. Anybody who'd rather be known for what they do than how they look. Beauty to me is wisdom and grace, a whimsical smile sprawled across your face. Beauty can't be purchased in a bottle or a jar. It only comes with time, and it's who you are. I've paid for every gray hair upon my head. I've worked through every day till I dropped into bed. Now I won't pretend this face is 39, 'cause I've earned these lines, I've earned these lines. Soldiers get medals, students get grades, and
Workers get a raise in their hourly wage. A mother's job description ain't proportional to pay. And you never quit your worry till your dying day. I've paid for every gray hair upon my head. I've worked through every day till I dropped into bed. Now I won't pretend this face is 49, 'cause I've earned these lines. I've earned these lines. Proud, nasty women are marching today. You might choose to join us or step out of the way. Our pointed pink pussy hats are only for show. We're gonna speak truth to power wherever we go. I've paid for every gray hair upon my head. I've worked through every day till I dropped into bed. Now I won't pretend this face is 59, 'cause I've earned these lines. I've earned these lines. Earned these lines. I've earned these lines. Earned these lines. I've earned these lines. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I have to make a choice now. Let's see. Should I do the brand new song? Yeah. Right. Are there any hikers here? Are there any hikers? You know, if you know a mountain and you've seen it many times from different angles, it's all different, you know, no matter, depending on where you see it from, it has a different profile, and it's different in different kinds of weather and different times of the day. When I was 18 years old, I went to Paul Smith's College, and I saw St. Regis Mountain for the first time. Across St. Regis Lake, across the campus, there she stands, you know, with her fire tower on the top. But when you go paddle in different ponds around the St. Regis canoe area, she looks all different, you know, taller sometimes and broader other times, and depending on the cloud cover and the weather and everything. But I realized Dan and I walk along the rail trail from Lake Clear toward Tupper Lake in the morning, and we look out across Lake Clear at St. Regis every day. And I realized that all these years, you know, I lived in Paul Smith's for 15 years, and then, you know, I always wanted to go back, and she called me home, I felt like. So even though, you know, St. Regis, I'm sure, according to the Catholics, is probably a man, the patron saint of lace makers, I read, that I think that it's a woman. And I think she is the patron saint of hikers and paddlers. So I will share this song with you. And she lays down is not sleeping. She's watching all her creatures down below. Her face is turned, still vigil keeping. Through season, summer green, winter snow. When first we came to learn the lands and forests, her whisper echoed clear across the lake. Now it echoes in resounding chorus. In every step and every path we take, Saint Regis, matron of the mountains, more than trees and trails, streams and stone. Saint Regis, guardian of hikers, when we are lost, she calls us home. When we are lost, she calls us home. Lake clear, she lies broad across the shoreline. From Spitfire, she climbs high into the sky. From Barnum Pond, she holds the Jenkins white pine. From her summit, there are jeweled lakes to find. Saint Regis, matron of the mountains, more than trees and trails, streams and stone. Saint Regis, guardian of hikers, when we are lost, she calls us home. When we are lost, she calls us home. Sometimes sleepy sheep surround her summit. Then sun lights up her tower like a crown. Blue eyes shimmers where her rock cliffs plummet. Then thick gray blankets over like a shroud. Saint Regis, matron of the mountains, more than trees and trails, streams and stone. Saint Regis, guardian of hikers, when we are lost, she calls us home. When we are lost, she calls us home. Calls us home. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank Sierra for inviting me to be part of this special evening, and thanks Sarah Craig and all the folks, Joe on sound, for making this place magical as it always is. I'm always challenged to try something I haven't done before, and even though it may not be perfect, I'm honored always to color outside the lines here at Caffe Lena. So thank you to all of you for coming out this evening. And if you haven't
heard Sierra's poetry live before, you're gonna be awed and moved, and as I am. So thank you for coming out. Appreciate it.
All right. Ooh. All right, there we go. Let's hear it one more time for Peggy Lynn. What an incredible way to start the evening. Like I mentioned earlier, Peggy is going to be back here with Jam Crackers August 4th, Friday, August 4th. And we'd love to see you guys again for the show. It's going to be a great night. So be sure and get your tickets now and mark your calendars. That's coming up real soon, Friday, August 4th with Jam Crackers. I want to say a really quick thank you to all of our Caffe Lena volunteers working this evening. Let's hear it really quick for the volunteers. They are doing an amazing job as always. And real quickly, just something I wanted to mention for those of you who frequently attend shows here at Caffe Lena. Usually during the last song or two of the set is when the servers will come around to your tables and drop your check off, and then you can pay on the way out. Tonight, because we don't want to break up the magic of the ending of the set, we're actually going to wait until the show's over and the lights come up, and then the servers will come by and drop your check. So if you're wondering where your check is, they'll bring it by as soon as the lights come up at the end of the night, and you can just, on your way out, swing by the front to pay with a credit card, or you can leave cash, of course, as always. So just a heads up about that. And yeah, let's get on with the show. We are so excited to have Sierra here this evening. She is a 2-time National Poetry Slam champion. She's a 5-time published author. She is also the host of the podcast Just Break Up, which has been downloaded 4 million times. And we are really excited to have her here to celebrate the release of her 5th book. So let's give her a very warm welcome to the stage. This is Sierra DeMulder.
Thank you. Thank you so much. While my grandmother waits for death in the other room, her lips cracked as brown sugar, her fingers moving in sleep against the buttons of her nightgown, the women of my family play cards. They forget to eat, cry about past lovers, sort bills and outdated subscriptions. They sit on the floor, taking turns massaging out the grief while answering worried calls from friends, clergy, neighbors who sloppily soak the phone with their regret. I should have called earlier, but the holidays, you know. There is a camaraderie among women and death. Both know how to become a vigil, to be busy and still, an usher from one room to the next. One sister drove through the night. One daughter wore the same clothes for a week. I was wrong. My grandmother isn't waiting for death, instead drifting in and out of a much softer word. It is the living who wait, who count the hours, the morphine doses, the last requests for ice chips. Yes, it is the living who wait, with their card games and their tears and their own hushed regrets from all the time they had nothing to wait for. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so thrilled to share this amazing space with you and to share this stage with Peggy and all the other legendary voices who have existed here at the infamous Caffe Lena. Honestly, this night is such a dream for me. Spoiler alert, if you don't know this, if you aren't one of the people who are actually physically related to us, Peggy is my mother-in-law. So a little nepotism for you, you know what I mean? Just kidding, she got me the job. So just a general thank you so much for sharing this night with me and for celebrating my 5th book, Ephemera. This book was written and is about a 5-year period that was the greatest, most joy-filled time of my life. That was also the most difficult and challenging and world-altering in its challenges. And so the book is a lot about those times and those peaks and valleys and the duality and the constant tension that life requires of us to hold both our joy and suffering at the same time. I'd like to, that was the first poem in the book that I opened with, but I'd like to continue with a very special poem, particularly for this space. The first section of this book is kind of opposite, or opens in the opposite of many general literary canons. Instead of life to death, it moves from a section about death and loss into a section about new life, the whole little arc thing. But the first section is, poems about endings and change and loss, and particularly a series of poems about the time I spent taking care of my grandmother with my aunts and my mother while she was on hospice care. And that time was incredibly life-changing, and it was a privilege, and I use that word intentionally. And I want to continue with this poem, particularly for this space, because it's about music and sound. One of my most treasured memories from that time, I was reading a lot of poems to my grandmother. I was reading Mary Oliver to her in the night when she couldn't sleep. So Mary Oliver was like always floating in the back of my mind. But one of my most cherished memories was my grandmother requested to listen to her old records. And I'm sure she was a patron of Caffe Lena. I'm confident of it. She was a 80K member, a hiker. Her and Peggy would have literally been like blood sisters, just in their similarities. And I constantly wish that she was here to be a part of my new family. And she wanted to sing along with these records. And these are old folk songs. The records were wobbly. The people's voices were, And my grandmother, even in the haze of grief and cancer and morphine, knew every word, and was singing with this sort of loudness, boldness that I think we lose in life, And I just sat in the corner and watched her sing, and then I wrote this poem after Mary Oliver. And the poem that is specifically after is the one with the famous line, "And you, what will you do with your one wild and precious life?" But the line that really stuck out to me was, I don't know exactly what a prayer is, but I do know how to pay attention. This is called Who Made the Music? After Mary Oliver. Who made the first sound, held it in their mouth, pushed air and life into it until it went galloping through the world like a once stillborn calf? Who discovered music? The first foot stomp turned bass drum turned rain percussion on a thatched roof? Who made the auto harp, 100 strings slicing across her belly like gills? Who found the voice, the hollow trunk of throat, uvula, larynx, a pocket watch of muscle? Who named the ground for kneeling? Who first imagined heaven, decided to sing upwards, calling on the waiting room of everyone we love, a pearly gated community, a cream for every gullied brow? I don't know exactly what a prayer is, but tonight I listened to a dying woman sing, her body waterless, her tongue a dark, dry rose. She knew all of the words, even from the other side of Morphine's pond, and they were the kind of songs played from wood that speak of lonesome valleys and lost sheep, and her body was at peace, and her cancer was at peace, and her soul, her soul was everywhere in that room, and it moved within me, and if they sit real quiet, I can still feel it there, and that must be a prayer. Thank you. Thank you. I thought about reading that poem in this space, and I just wanted to get it done. So I hope I called her into this space with me. Okay, so as I said, the first section is about endings, including that time with my grandmother. Can somebody in the back get me a tissue? Thank you. Sorry, I don't want to sniffle into the microphone this whole time. See? Forgive me. So there's a poem in this first section. I was thinking about different kinds of endings, breakups, life transitions. And, sorry. Now, everybody's paying attention to it. Great, Sierra. It's just because I'm nervous. I wanted to write a poem about reincarnation as an alternative ending. Thank you so much. I'm just going to do this. Okay. Keep that there as my little buddy. So this is a poem about reincarnation. I am a very spiritually open person. I don't know what I believe, but I like to explore new ideas. And I was offered the opportunity from a friend of a friend, they were going to read my chakras and process my trauma from a past life. And I was like, sure, I'll try that. All right. And then they said they're going to do it from like a different town and just send me it in a Facebook message voice memo. All right, cool. Do it. I'm ready. So this woman did this, and she sent me this voice memo, and she cleared this, who knows. Maybe I'm lighter in some other realm, but I remember in the voice memo she said, the womb carries. It's meant to, and it will carry things from life to life. And as a poet, again, I don't know what I believe in reincarnation or not, but I love the metaphor of it. I love the idea that we get to set something down. We get to try something differently, if not for ourselves, and for the next person. So this is a poem about reincarnation. The woman told me over voice memos how she cleared my sacral chakra from the trauma of a past life. The womb carries, she said, and we are all heavy with outdated fashions of ourselves. I don't know what I believe. My mother has a reoccurring dream. She is trapped in a dark and human space, dank with the smell of death, urine, one small window cracked too high to reach. She believes this is a memory from her life, but not the one she's living. Once, a woman in Britain wrote 70 pages of hieroglyphics in her sleep, detailing her past life as a priestess, and I don't write in a diary because I am afraid of myself. The womb carries, and I wonder what collections it has by now. Carbon footprints, baby teeth, spools of fear in every color, broken dishes and white lilies, all that we are curated in some illogical museum. All that we are is sifted and passed on in the haze of tracing paper, the ghost of an ink smudge. So says the 2-year-old with uncanny knowledge of World War II aircrafts, who has nightmares of planes crashing into the Pacific. If I am a remake, and this life the after-image of an after-image of a soul new as the first word, tell her I am attempting to free us. Poorly, but stubbornly, I am trying to let go, if not for us, then for the next passenger. Tell her I am afraid, but I am trying anyway, because what more can we ask of ourselves now and then but to race over and over imperfectly against time, disease, famine, heartbreak, freak acts of humanity and nature, only to wake up back at the starting line, salvaged and full of hope. Thanks.